Greetings, boils and ghouls, goblins and ghosts. You're tuning into Too Ghoul for School, the podcast, a death-style podcast for the morbidly inclined. Class is in session. I'm your ghoulish hostess, Jocelyn Wen, aka Glamour Ghoul Beauty School. I'm an actress, I have a BA in psychology, and I am a purveyor of all things dark and spooky. We have a very special treat this week. It's going to be our first guest on Too Ghoul for School, the podcast. My husband Ian will be coming on to speak about Krampus. So without further ado, here is the Gomez to my Morticia, the Dracula to my Mina Harker, the Ren to my Stimpy, the John to my Garfield. I think that's the guy's name in Garfield. Or no, he's more the Garfield, I'm the John. My partner in crime in our unholy union, Ian Aust.
So why did you invite me here today, Jocelyn?
Yeah, I invited you here today to be our very first guest on Too Ghoul for School, the podcast, to talk about Krampus or Krampus. So, what is Krampus? Who is he?
Well, yeah, I guess I am the resident expert on Krampus.
Mm-hmm. That's how I found out about Krampus.
Mm-hmm.
Was
yeah, okay. So Krampus is
By the way, you're wearing a lovely t-shirt. Team Krampus.
Yes.
All festive for the occasion. Sorry, I interrupted you. What is Krampus?
Oh yes, Krampus. Right, I remember now. Krampus is basically a Christmas boogeyman.
Okay.
From an Alpine folklore tradition.
So Alpine being like
generally the region of Austria.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, he kind of looks, like a anthropomorphized goat man with a Gene Simmons tongue and
yeah,
oftentimes
the iconic tongue.
Covered in fur, horns, one hoof and one human foot.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about that. I thought they were both hooves. I forgot about that. That's kind of, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a very cursed image.
Yeah. Okay, and then he has like tools and like certain accessories?
Yeah, he's generally depicted with a birch rod or a switch.
What does he use that for?
Well, he's a counterpart to Saint Nicholas. So while Saint Nicholas distributes gifts to reward good behavior, Krampus distributes punishments.
Okay, so switch is for punishing. And what other tools, accessories does he carry on his person?
He's generally depicted wrapped in a chain or chains, and sometimes he'll have a wicker basket on his back for carrying away bad children. And
images you often see a couple of children in his basket already,
mm-hmm.
and him trotting off somewhere.
Yeah. I imagine that's probably for the worst children. I guess the threat is a little bit more real if there's a possibility that you might be taken away and never seen again.
Yeah, it's effective. So that's like a thing parents would do is like, if you're not good, not only will you not get presents, but Krampus will come for you and take you away forever.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like it's a lost strategy in parenting. I feel like today we always focus on the reward, but there's also a push-pull system where you can entice with honey, but also dissuade with vinegar.
Yes, negative reinforcement.
Yeah,
and punishment, which are different things. But yes, okay.
Well, I think that the threat of punishment is potentially more effective than punishment itself.
Right.
In in Alpine regions, they have a traditional Krampus night, Krampusnacht, um, where
And what night is that? Like the
that'd be December 5th. Uh,
December 5th. So yeah, it's already
so either
passed.
like concurrent or like immediately before Nicholas Day, St. Nicholas Day,
Mm.
um, which is either celebrated on the 5th or the 6th of December. But generally, they show up together. Um, Oftentimes, St. Nicholas holding Krampus's chain.
Symbolizing his like servitude to.
Yeah, Krampus kind of appears like a demon indentured to a saintly figure. So it's kind of reminiscent of like Solomon,
Mm.
where you have like a godly figure who has taken hold over a demonic figure.
Right, yes. Yeah. He kind of like has him contained, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they do on Krampusnacht? How does it, what is it?
So oftentimes, the young men of the community will uh, make their best Krampus impressions. They'll dress up in furs and masks, and um, they'll generally just run around, cause a ruckus, and scaring people, and I guess getting
Hijinks, pranks, much
hijinks,
like
pranks.
Halloween.
Yeah, there's a similar
Mm-hmm.
aspect of trying to like appease the pranksters with schnapps rather than
Okay, get
candy
him
in this
more
case.
drunk.
But maybe they won't prank you if you give them
Right.
schnapps.
Okay, all right. They'll just be more fueled up to prank others.
Hmm.
Okay, that are not as generous. That makes a lot of sense. I think I remember when Conan O'Brien was interviewing Christoph Waltz, and Christoph Waltz told him about Krampusnacht. He was like, Conan was like, oh, so like Krampus Con or whatever. It really is. A bunch of grown young men being Krampus and yeah, carrying on the spirit of the night and everything.
Yeah, and I think I remember Christoph Waltz emphasizing that it is a very Catholic sort of idea of, you know.
Yes, terror.
What I also find so fascinating about Krampus is that it's a convergence of what seems like Abrahamic traditions and older pagan traditions.
Right.
Whereas Krampus himself seems to be reminiscent of various different like pre-Christian European traditions involving like the young men of a community embodying some sort of spirit and then causing general mayhem or mischief on a special celebration day.
Mm-hmm.
And that, this is found like in like Celtic traditions and Roman traditions and stuff like that, where you have like a special feast day,
Like reveling.
where yeah, with reveling and stuff like that. But you also have, you know, the young rowdy men basically embodying the rowdiness and kind of taking on a guise of, maybe like a wolf creature, or maybe just disrobing and going around, playing grab ass.
Playing grab ass. Can you elaborate? What?
Oh, I don't know. It's like the sort of thing that you see like in a um like a Roman feast day tradition.
Right. Like Lubricalia or like
Exactly.
Saturnalia. Yeah.
And more of a going around and boys will be boys sort of activity, like I'd be like chasing after a girl, or scaring people or something like that.
Okay. Consensually chasing after a
Right.
girl for fun.
Right.
Cool. Just so we're clear.
And then of course there's the Abrahamic portion of it, which is like introducing Saint Nicholas as the
The foil or the
foil,
contrast.
yeah.
It's a dichotomy.
And it kind of reinforces the Judeo-Christian concept of like the saintly figure can overpower the demonic figure.
Keeps them in check.
Right. So like King Solomon learned from God how to entrap demons and even, indenture them to himself, so they would have to serve him.
Right. Lesser Key of Solomon or Book of Solomon.
Something like that.
Yeah, one of those. I'll look it up and clarify it. So for you, when did you find out about Krampus? How did that go for you?
On one of my many deep dives into Wikipedia,
Nice.
spent a lot of time on Wikipedia as a young man. I guess what interested me was the fact, well, I was always interested in like folklore and mythology, but then reading about Krampus, it really kind of struck a chord because it seemed very obvious that it's like a perfect example of like comparative mythology, like where you have different traditions combining, but they seem to like maybe reconverge from older traditions, because there's different things that are similar to Krampus, like we were talking about with other like festive days, but also like other folkloric creatures. So like there's the Yule Pukki in Finland, which is the Yule goat.
Oh yes, yeah.
And Krampus has a very goat-like appearance. But of course, demonic figures in Christianic tradition also like appear goat-like.
You have to kind of keep your Krampus tendencies, or not that you act like the Krampus, but you like, the few times we brought it up around your mom, she's very...
Oh yeah, my mom doesn't like Krampus.
Yeah. Can you tell me about that?
I mean, Krampus isn't part of her tradition. It wasn't even really part of my dad's tradition, but I discovered it and I liked it, and I thought it's a nice little addition.
Because other Germans will, kind of.
It's a nice little like addition to the Christmas festivities. But yeah, I mean, both of my parents grew up Catholic, and maybe my mom's resentment to her Catholic upbringing probably contributes to her dislike for a like a punitive Christmas figure. I think that probably my parents both experienced, spanking when they were children, whereas like, us millennials who were helicopter parented by our parents who were resistant to corporal punishment.
Yes,
we're so soft.
We're soft babies, soft little millennial babies. How do you like to kind of uphold the tradition of Krampus?
Generally, I wear or receive Krampus themed shirts that I get from my wife. No,
your sister got you like a cool Krampus too.
I like it. I like the tradition of the Krampus themed gift cards. So
or like greeting card, or the holiday cards.
Yeah, a nice little like juxtaposition to the generally wholesome like well wishes for the holidays and stuff like that. Rather, give somebody a card that shows like Krampus dishing up a punishment or running off, or like taking a child away.
Yeah, it is a nice juxtaposition to I guess you could, for all intents and purposes, say that, we lavish kids in gifts, spoil them. So this is like way opposite. Like the most terrifying thing.
You just give them a piece of coal.
Or you could just give them a piece of coal. And I forgot, did we find out if Krampus has anything to do with coal?
I think that's possibly an option. Like maybe is introduced to the Christmas tradition. I'm sure that not every child was so bad that they deserve to be, birched, but
oh my god, and taken.
Well, that'd probably be for the worst children.
A lot of people's introduction to Krampus might have probably likely been from the film, I think, the horror comedy, I believe 2015. You've seen it.
Yeah, it was okay.
Right. Yeah.
There's also, I think, an American Dad episode of Krampus.
Yeah. Have you seen that? I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see that. We should watch it.
Krampus has a very good singing voice in that episode.
Oh. So you would say if anybody was like interested in Krampus, I mean, obviously Google and like Wiki it.
Yeah. Apparently, a lot of cities, since it's kind of become popularized in the U.S., like major cities like Los Angeles, have a Krampus Nacht or a Krampus Lauf of its own. So like a Krampus run, where you can dress up like Krampus and join the festivities.
I mean, I know you weren't interested in dressing up like Krampus, but maybe eventually we should try to go to one of those.
Yeah, we could
Just
try to
see
do
all
that,
the
maybe.
Krampus. I mean, we can admire the Krampus costumes instead of
Yeah,
dressing up.
it's too late this year, but maybe we can try next year.
Yeah, that would be cool. And then I would say that the Krampus movie, although like, yeah, not really. It depends on your like style of what kind of horror films you like. It can, I guess it could be a little campy, but it is a good, depiction of the lore, I would say. So it's worth a watch if you're curious more about it. But you could probably just read it or
They took some liberties.
Okay.
Invented a few things.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and also Krampus doesn't really look like Krampus. Instead, he just looks like evil Santa.
Oh, okay. For some reason, he kind of looks like the Beast from like Beauty and the Beast, but like in a Santa.
Well, also with he has Santa Claus's face, but it looks kind of loose and gross.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a letdown because he's already so cool. Why do you have to like change it for that? Well, I am super appreciative of you coming on here all the way from your couch in the living room beside me at my vanity / podcasting station. So as a token of my esteem,
I'm happy to make the journey.
yes, I'm gifting you an early Christmas present, or Krampus. Is that how they pronounce it?
Look at this wrapping paper.
It's spooky.
Indeed. A plate?
Mm.
Oh, what have we here? Cookies for Krampus.
Yeah, I've been wanting to give that to you because we keep making really delicious oven-baked chocolate chip cookies. And yeah. And it's spelled with K's. So yeah, cookies for Krampus.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now we have to actually put out like on like Christmas Eve, we have to put out this plate.
That's I think what the idea is. And like maybe show the amazing, these are the kind of images that you get on those like kind of old greeting cards and
Krampus
prints.
Cards.
Look at that. Terrified children. And Krampus with his his one human foot right there and his freaking hoof. Yeah. It just, the way he laughs about it just gets me. Fills him with such joy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at how joyful Krampus is. Look how happy he is. Yes. He's got his chain and his wicker basket. The bad child is getting tucked away, and the good child is playing with her new toy.
It's very good.
Maybe it's fruit. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Enjoying their fruit. So yeah, I saw it and I thought of you.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yay! He loves it. Well, thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode on Krampus. That's all the time we have. Comment, like, share, subscribe. If you have any lore from your tradition, from your culture that you like to uphold on the holidays, please let us know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for sitting for a spell. Stay spooky, boils and ghouls, goblins and ghosts. Till next time. Wait, would you really, like, spank your kids? Like, our kids?
What?
Would you really spank our kids?
No, of course not. That's Krampus's job.
Okay.
No, seriously though. Don't spank your kids.
Yeah, don't spank your kids.
Oh, wow. The coffins.
Yeah.
The abundance of coffins are starting to become a problem.
Are they? Could you elaborate about that? What's wrong with the coffins?
We have more than one per room at this point.
I don't see the issue.
Originally, we agreed no more than one coffin per room.
I don't think I made any agreement.
Jocelyn has selective memory.
Enlighten me on why we should only have one coffin per room.
Because it gets tacky if you have too many.
So it's become tacky already?
Yes.
How dare you? Well, that's your opinion.
It's also correct.
Wow. Okay. Tell me how you really feel.
I did.
It was sarcastic. All right, we got our very first guest for Too Ghoul for School, the podcast. So, who are you and what are you doing here?
Hi, I'm Ian. I'm Jocelyn's husband.
My husband.
And resident Krampus expert.
Yes, yes. And you will regale us with the tale of Krampus or the lore and story behind Krampus.
I'll try.
How is it being married to a Too Ghoul for School podcaster?
It's the best.
Well trained.